Yeah, so it's very, yeah, it's just a typo from what I've been told.
There we go.
So you're right in it.
2 errors, that's correct.
How you doing? So I'm just explaining to councillors that item 8, change plan 5E, is just repairing a typo. Is that, am I as simple as that?
Yes, it's as simple as that.
Okay, so no more question? Right, Councillor Temple's happy to move and Councillor Peters happy to second it. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Against? Thank you, carried. Right, now we move on to the Mayor's monthly report. Kelly's happy to move it. And question? Which one? Right. It is, right. The first one I went to was South Korea, and that was absolutely fantastic. There was a Mayor's Forum there, which was totally paid for. There was 52 mayors there, and it was actually set up in a massive building. It actually reminded me of a United Nations thing. It was that well done. Singapore paid for the whole lot, paid for the airfares, paid for the accommodation, paid for the whole do. We all got, I won't say kimonos, but they were male, whatever, and it was really good. And Tori Whanau was there, and she spoke. She was one of the keynote speakers up the top. And it was interesting to talk about, it was mainly about climate change and other things, and get everyone's perspective. But overall, apart from the networking and stuff, it was only about 6 hours over 2 days of forum stuff. So that was very interesting. One of the things I did when I went there, I went to Songpa, because that's one of our sister cities, and they were nice enough to take us to their waste management system, and they are doing some things better than us, but other things not as good as us. For example, our MRF facility that we've got, that the government nicely gave us $17 million for, is top of the range. It's got optical sorters. We've got about 4, maybe 5 people working in there, and it's excellent. Our one, they've got a massive belt with 47 people working on it. And so it gets to the end, there's nothing on the belts because these 47 people have picked it all out. And so that's where we're better than them at that. But I tell you, because they don't, as far as green waste goes, they have green waste and food, but because they're all apartments, there's 0 green waste. So they collect food. Now, I was there with one of the Christchurch NZ people, and I knew what was going to come out of the back of this truck. And I said, come and stand over here and see what's going to happen. And she was as green as your top. Right, but what they do, which is absolutely fantastic, it goes straight into the ground, dehydrated, put through the system, and within a day and a half, it comes out like, I would swear it was coffee grinds. Yes, but this is a massive system, and they use it to integrate with stock food that they give back to animals, because it's all made from food. So it is a really good system. That is great. Then the other sister city we went to was Karashki, and while I was there, I went up with Duncan Sandeman to Toyama, where the vast majority of the people the students that lost their lives in CTV building came from, and they've got the college that they came from. I was there, and I didn't realise this, but there's a monument there. There's 2 of them. There's one there, and there's one actually in Christchurch, and I've got to actually, I think it's in the Carnival Cathedral, I think, but I've got to go and find it. But the one important thing, it was very important to go and see these people, because everyone's getting older. It's 12, 13 years on, and they don't feel, they can't travel as much. And you've got to remember that they saw 13 years ago, they said goodbye to one of their children, who in most cases was a one-child family. One of them was a twin. And they came down here and never saw them again. So one thing I committed to, because I had Councillor Donovan with me at the time, is that I will go round to they were interested to see the stadium right next to CTV building and things like that, because they haven't seen it. So I've made a commitment to them to go to the wall, Avonhead Cemetery, and down to the CTV site and do a video. and show them what it's like, and so they can see, because it's sad that they can't get down here. So that was fantastic. And then just last week, while I'm talking, I went to Brisbane, and we, because they've got a Asia Pacific Sister Cities Forum, I think. Anyway, they have, that is their forum, their conference, and they once every 2 years throw it out for it to come somewhere else, and we were selling ourselves, so to speak, to have it here in Christchurch. So I think we've put an extremely good case forward. We've schmoozled up to all the right people. We're up against Dubai, from what I'm told, and Manila. Now, we'll never compete money-wise with Dubai, I'm sorry to say, but I feel quite confident that the feedback that we were getting was actually very good, and it'll bring a large number of people, because there was 77 mayors at that one, so, and all the entourage that goes with it. So it was a great thing to do. So thank you. We found Christchurch NZ put their final bid in November, and I think we find it December, yeah. So
just to assist the Mayor, we also were able to showcase our Smart Cities work because we were asked to do a presentation on that as well.
And one of the interesting things that we did have, and it might not be, one of the people that was there with us said, it must be another conference we're looking at. We've got some time that we need to get one in. That's what we talked about. We said we'll have the conference towards Wednesday, towards the end of the week, so that people can spend Saturday and Sunday looking around Christchurch, and that, rather than having it on Monday and Tuesday and do it the other way. It turned out that there was only one space all of next year that we can fit, I think it's next year after, that we can fit it in, because Te Pai is booked out totally until then, which is very good news. Okay, Councillor Johansson, did you have your hand up?
Just kind of interested in what happened yesterday with the LTP, and I just wondered if there was an opportunity that we could have the LTPs being done in public when we're getting presented with the information, because it seems to me now it's become apparent that as part of our LTP, we've kind of got a bit of a delay on releasing the information, but it would probably be quite helpful if we could all just share the information at the same time with the community, with the public, as we get it, as we work through the process. So I just wondered if there'd been any reflection as the Mayor's office kind of leads the LTP process, about how we could sort of just improve the transparency around the LTP information, because I guess it was a bit awkward yesterday having information in the media at the start of the day, not being able for us as individual councillors to know that it was going to be released, and then get it released at the end of the day when we were being asked lots of questions during the day.
So I can make a couple of comments. First of all, I'm not going to comment on the Mayor's interview with the media. What I can say, though, is that we have a very clearly agreed process for increased transparency of the long-term plan. As you're well aware, we have been recording those sessions and making the presentations available. On receipt of the media request yesterday, we actually made available the capital program part of the presentation to ensure that we're ongoing committed to an increased level of transparency. The issue is when we start to consider proposals for savings that may have either commercial or staff-related impacts, we are not in a position to do that, because if there are consequential change proposals or other staff impacts, we have a responsibility to engage with those staff first, rather than through the media. So we are entering into a phase of the long-term plan where we need to have some sessions with councillors who are able to engage and to completely understand the implications before that information is released to the media.
The information could be released that wasn't sensitive, right? Like we did yesterday. Like if we'd released, like what would be the harm in releasing that briefing that we released last night in the morning?
What we have agreed with Council is that there will be a delay in the release of the information. I think releasing it on the same day as the briefing was entirely consistent with the agreement we have with Council and reflected a very good level of transparency.
So if we wanted to change it, what's the process? We do a formal recommendation of council, is it?
What do we want to change?
Well,
Putting
just,
it out at the same time as we see it. It's more important that I feel it's more important that we see it before anyone else does, so we can digest it. And if there's anything that we want to change or whatever, and then staff can put it out, and which they did yesterday.
Okay, well, you might have that view, but I'm just saying, like, what happened yesterday was we woke up to a whole bunch of information on the front page of the newspaper that wasn't public. That meant that we were on the back foot most of the day until the information got released later that night, which put a number of us in an awkward situation of dealing with media inquiries, community feedback, and not having the information. So I don't really know why there would be a reluctance to have the information come out at the same time. If there's sensitive stuff that can be withhold it. I think people will accept and understand that.
None of that stuff that we had yesterday had any reflection on what I did. I did that on my own. I hadn't read any of that stuff before I went out and said what I said. So, yeah, totally on my own.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The other thing that's in there, the portfolios one will come out in November. That's where we're at that. Question? Hey? We haven't got round to doing it yet.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, I just want to on the LTP. I'm just wondering what the status of our Commonwealth Games bid is, particularly given one of the possible partners in the new government has been supportive of it.
Good question. I did read in the paper that the Gold Coast have fired their hand up. I mentioned the word Commonwealth Games, and everyone at Christchurch NZ runs around in circles saying, "For God's sake, shut up."
I'm delighted to hear it.
And also some councillors too.
Yes. I still believe it was a good thing, but never mind, that's life. One day.
I applaud your aspiration, though.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So have I got a mover for that, which is Councillor Barber and Councillor Peepers second? So I'll put any other discussion. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Thank you. Carried. So now we have item